Welcome to Film Riot. Questions, we have them. First one, favorite shot ever to incorporate into your film if your story allows? I don't think I have one. I don't know that I even think in those terms with any of my projects. For me, it's more about what is the scene, what is the moment, who are the characters, and most importantly, what do I want my audience to feel in this moment? And then that's going to dictate where I'm going to put my camera and what I'm going to do with that camera. If it's locked off, if it's handheld, if it's moving smoothly. And again, where I'm putting that camera. Do I want my audience to feel inside of this moment? Do I want them to feel like they are the hero? Do I want them to feel like they're next to the hero? Do I want them to feel completely broken out from it and a spectator? How do I want them to experience this moment? What do I want their takeaway to be emotionally? What note am I trying to hit? And then that's going to dictate where the camera goes. It almost seems inevitable to me when I'm coming up with those scenes of where the camera should be, what the blocking should be. Everything is, well, of course the camera would be here at this point because of X. Sometimes it's not this super deep thematic reasoning. Sometimes it's just what I want the audience to feel or how I want them to bring them into it, or the ramp up that I want to create before I really hit into whatever I'm doing. So it's always those terms that I'm thinking of and not any one specific shot, at least for me personally. Any advice or wisdom on self-discipline as it pertains to filmmaking? Self-discipline can be a very difficult thing for sure. You can definitely get distracted, and most of the time it's not an issue for me, but I don't think it's just because it's my personality to constantly go. I think it's because that became a habit out of necessity. So there's always been these hard deadlines enforced on me, either ones that I did to myself, but now they're there and I have to do it, or ones that are, dictated by, like our show. We have 2 episodes a week that we have to do. Or if you're working with other people and you're crafting some kind of pitch and they need it by X date or whatever it is, you have those deadlines that are enforcing those things. And so you can't, procrastinate. So you got to figure out a way to create those things for yourself if you don't have anyone creating them for you. And then once that happens and you can create that habit, it becomes easier and easier. And in fact, I find it more difficult to procrastinate or to take time off or time for myself and not work. I find when I'm not working on film, I feel like I'm supposed to be, which is also not a good thing. It's like I'm still trying to find that balance of you have to have a normal life too. I mean, that's just healthy. So it's just really tough to get a good balance. For me, it's like this pendulum that swings in one way or the other, and it's hard to get it in the middle, I guess, if that's so. I guess the point is to say I'm not 100% sure. I'm trying to figure it out still. But enforcing deadlines on yourself and creating that habit of creating every single day, no day goes by without creating something, and then just keep that going. And I think it becomes a lot easier. Looking back, could you imagine when you started Film Riot that you would get where you are now? Advice for someone starting out just like you guys? I mean, I'm still not where I want to be. I want to be making feature films, and I'm definitely a lot closer to that than I ever have been before. And I'm just knocking on the door of it now, which is amazing to be at this point. And that was always the goal. But for me, I never put too much weight on what that would be exactly. It was about, I need to make feature films. That's where I'm headed. And I will never quit until I get to that point to where I'm making feature films, whether I'm making them completely on my own, independent for an extremely low budget, or if I'm making a studio film, doesn't matter. That wasn't a part of the thinking. It was just, I need to tell these stories. I need to give an audience an experience. I need to do that. It's in my DNA to do it. So everything I did was headed toward that direction. So starting in the beginning, I've always explained it like there's a few doors in front of you. Which door is going to head in the direction you want to go? And you can be very specific about what that goal is. It doesn't have to be like what I was saying. It could be very specifically, you want to head toward the goal of directing a studio film. That's fine. That's a very hard target to hit, but head in that direction. So what do you have in front of you that's going to take you to that direction? I think a lot of people want to skip steps when the first steps just starting out are often just do things for free, just to build a reel and to wrap your head around, understanding how to put a piece together. And like I keep saying over and over, give an audience an experience, because that's the hardest thing to really craft, is to understand how to take an idea and deliver that idea to have your audience feel what you intended from the beginning. And that takes experience and understanding of the craft of film. And that doesn't come from nowhere just because you want it to. That comes from doing it and doing it again and doing it again and doing it again. So look at what you have in front of you. And if you have nothing, you just have your cell phone only and a couple of friends who are willing to shoot some stuff with you for fun, do that. Take your cell phone and shoot some stuff for fun, and then do it again, and then do it again, and then do it again. And then you'll find that a progression starts to happen. Things start to reveal themselves to you. You start more easily being able to recognize what the next correct door is. And you just keep walking through them one at a time until you ultimately look back and you're shocked at how many doors you've walked through already and which ones face you now. But it's about putting in the work and not trying to skip steps. Do the one that's right in front of you. How do you not compare your work to others and just focus on yourself? For me, I feel inferior to all my extremely talented friends and the work that they put out, and I celebrate their work and I support them like crazy. And then I just tell the stories that I want to tell. I just focus on the stories that I want to put out there. And I think we all feel a little bit inferior. It's just a matter of not letting that stop you, if that's what you mean, as far as comparing yourself to other people. But I think as a whole, we just, as filmmakers, need to support each other and create that community of support so we can all, achieve our goals. You don't have to be stepping on someone to achieve a goal. We can, pull each other up, not pull each other down. I've seen both things happen. And for me, it's all about pulling each other up, creating a community of filmmakers that can rely on each other, that can comment on each other's work to help each other progress. Because no one's stealing your spot, in my personal opinion. You are the only you. Your perspective is the only perspective exactly like yours, and that's unique. That's your voice. So everybody's going to be different and have a different path and have a different end goal. And I don't know if that answered the question if I just rambled, but there you have it. Do you send early drafts of the screenplay to the actors? I read a script that already has the actors in mind. Should I bother them with early drafts or wait for the final stage to include them? If you have actors where you really like their sense of story and you want their input on the script, great. I personally do not send early drafts of the script to almost anyone. There's a very small group of people that I send those to. Reading scripts is a difficult task, even when they're complete, let alone when they're in the early rough stages. Some people don't see past that very, rough bit, past all that dirt to the diamond that's underneath it like you do. So you want to be very careful with who you let read the work at first, because in those early stages, it's very delicate and it can be broken very easily. So you want to make sure you're giving that to the right people. For me personally, I never have given first drafts or early drafts to actors. I do that much later down the road. But again, it just depends. Any upcoming projects in the future, even something smaller like what Sentinel was? I'm working on a bunch of stuff behind the scenes right now, trying to develop and head toward that feature film like we were talking about earlier. There's no short films currently in the pipeline that I'm planning for this year. I'm not sure that we'll do a larger short film this year at all. Maybe some larger film rights sketches, but I really doubt a short film's going to happen this year, as I work toward other, hopefully much bigger things. Logo. So that's it for today, which means it's time for my suggestion of the week. And this is a Kickstarter for my good friends over at Maker Table's new short film. It's directed by Ryan Pauly. These guys have helped out on a bunch of my short films. And the DP for this one is Daniel, who was the DP on Sentinel and Westworld to Yuma. So definitely check that out and consider giving them your support. And until next time, don't forget to write, shoot, edit, repeat.